Welcome to the deep dive. We're tackling a really fascinating area today, how sports and entertainment marketing is changing, looking ahead to 2025.
Yeah, and we're using this great report from Three Halves Labs, The State of Marketing in Sports and Entertainment, as our guide.
Exactly. Think of this as, your shortcut to understanding the big shifts and how these industries connect with fans and, well, how they grow.
And what's really striking is how things like digital platforms, first-party data that's the info companies collect directly, right?
Right.
And this huge demand for really immersive fan experiences are all kind of coming together.
It's not just a small tweak, is it? It feels like a whole rethink.
Definitely. A complete overhaul in some ways.
Yeah, traditional advertising, the stuff we all grew up with, it's sort of taking a back seat now. It's more about building these fan-centric ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Focusing on loyalty.
Right, moving beyond just getting attention for a second and really building loyalty that, ultimately pays off.
And drives revenue, yeah.
And here's a stat that really jumped out at me from the report. It says social media engagement can actually predict sports viewership with, crazy high accuracy.
Oh, yeah. How high?
An R squared of 0.99.
Wow, okay. That's almost perfect correlation.
It basically is. It just shows that fans talking online, that digital chatter, it's not just noise. It's a massive predictor of real-world success.
Exactly. It highlights how, intertwined the online and offline fan worlds have become. You can't really separate them anymore.
So understanding those digital signals and actually acting on them, it's not just a nice to have.
No, it's absolutely crucial now for staying competitive, for growing.
Okay, so let's dive into the core strategies then. The report lays out a few key ones. The first big one is about organizations truly owning the fan relationship. What's the main problem they're trying to solve there?
Well, the big challenge, and the report really hammers this home, is that fan data is usually scattered all over the place.
Like in different silos.
Exactly. Ticketing systems over here, streaming data over there, e-commerce, social media. It's fragmented.
Right.
So the goal is to pull all that together, create one single unified profile for each fan using that first-party data, the data they collect themselves.
And make it actionable. Right, not just data for data's sake.
Precisely. Getting that 360-degree view of your audience.
It makes total sense. If you don't really know your fans centrally, how can you give them what they want?
You can't, really. Not effectively.
The report has some good examples, like in music. Spotify's Fan Insights. It gives artists so much data.
Yeah, like where people are listening, how often, what playlists they're on.
Which must be gold for planning tours or timing releases.
Absolutely invaluable. And then in sports, you've got teams like Real Madrid or FC Barcelona using their own streaming platforms, their OTT platforms.
OTT over the top, right? Like their own Netflix.
Pretty much. And by getting fans to log in, they build much richer profiles.
And then use that data to personalize things everywhere else.
Exactly, across all their channels. So the big question becomes, how do organizations actually do this? How do they unify those identities?
Well, that's where these platforms, like 3HL Score that the report mentions, seem to come in.
Right.
It provides the tools like secure logins and these things called OAuth integrations.
Which is like using your Google or Facebook login for other sites.
Kind of, yeah. It's a secure way to link accounts without creating tons of passwords. The point is, the tech helps bring those fan identities together, no matter where they interact digitally.
And what's key there, I think, is it puts the brands back in control of their own data.
Yeah, good point. They aren't just relying on, say, social media platforms for all their insights.
They own the relationship, like the objective says.
And speaking of understanding fans, here's another interesting statistic. About 3 in 10 U.S. adults follow women's college or pro sports closely.
Okay, that's significant.
And the fan base is basically an even split, men and women.
That really underlines why you need that complete picture, doesn't it? You can't just rely on old assumptions about who your fans are.
Definitely not. There's a great quote in there from Jeffrey Pollack. Sports marketing fundamentally is about the selling of hope.
I like that.
But to sell that hope effectively, you really need to know who you're talking to.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, moving to the second big objective. Personalize at scale. That sounds challenging. Personalizing for maybe millions of people.
It is a challenge. But the report nails it. In today's world, with everyone's feeds already personalized, generic messages just get ignored. They're just noise.
So the aim is dynamic offers, dynamic experiences,
Yeah.
driven by actual behavior.
Exactly. Based on what each fan actually does, not just broad segments.
We see this all the time, right? Like Netflix. Their recommendations drive something like 80% of views.
It's huge. all based on your viewing history.
Or Spotify Wrapped, everyone talks about it, shares it. It's totally personalized and it goes viral for them every year.
That's a perfect example of personalized engagement becoming marketing in itself.
And in sports.
Well, the NBA app is a good one. It tailors the scores, highlights, even the merchandise it shows you based on your favorite teams and how you use the app.
So it feels relevant to you.
Right. So how does a platform like 3HL Score help actually achieve this personalization at scale? What does it do?
Good question. How does it enable that?
The report says it allows for real-time targeting based on, what someone's doing right now in the app or how they reacted to a campaign before, or even their loyalty level.
Okay, so it uses different data points.
Yeah. And then it can automatically send out personalized challenges or messages or maybe gamified rewards. It's about making each fan feel like the experience is just for them.
Gotcha. Okay, third objective. Monetize the digital fan. We know ticket sales and stadium revenue are important, but the report suggests the big growth is digital.
Absolutely. The potential in digital channels is massive and, for many, still largely untapped.
So it's about finding new ways to generate revenue online.
Right. Things like subscriptions, digital merch, maybe virtual jerseys or something, memberships, digital collectibles.
Like NFTs.
Like NFTs, yeah. Non-fungible tokens, unique digital items.
A report gives some pretty powerful examples. Beyonce's last tour, the Renaissance Tour.
Over $500 million.
Yeah. And a huge chunk of that was digital pre-sales, exclusive NFT drops, different tiers of online content.
It really shows how that deep digital engagement can translate directly into serious money.
And in sports, Formula One's sponsorship revenue is exploding. Over $600 million in 2024.
And a key factor there is their fan base is younger, very digitally savvy.
They expect those online interactions.
They do. They want immersive brand experiences online. So again, how does 3HL Score fit into this monetization picture?
What's its role here?
It provides the plumbing, basically. The infrastructure for loyalty programs, integration with digital wallets for easy payments, tools for gated content, stuff only members can see.
Right.
And ways to create custom monetization paths based on events or what fans do.
So making it easy for fans to engage and spend digitally.
Exactly. It's about creating value there first, then offering seamless ways to transact. There's that great Baumbach quote. Let us prove that good taste, good art, and good writing can be good selling.
And now good digital experiences too.
Precisely. And increasingly, that good selling is happening online.
Okay, fourth objective. Delivering measurable sponsor value. This feels like a big shift. Just showing a logo isn't enough anymore, is it?
Not at all. Sponsors want ROI,
Yeah.
real return on investment. The days of just counting impressions, how many people might have seen a logo, are fading fast.
So they need proof that the sponsorship actually did something.
Yes, leaking specific outcomes, clicks, signups, purchases, real engagement directly back to their sponsorship activities.
The report mentions Universal Music using blockchain watermarking, like a digital fingerprint on content.
Yeah, it's a way to track exactly where and how their content is being used in campaigns. Pretty advanced stuff for measurement.
Very cool.
And in sports, UEFA's new Champions League format. Part of the reason the commercial rights value went up so much was because they offered sponsors more trackable activations.
They could actually measure the results better.
Exactly. So how does 3HL Score help organizations prove this value to sponsors? What does it track?
What's the mechanism?
It's built to track how fans actually interact with sponsor campaigns, what they click on, actions they take, even tying it back to media exposure.
And then turning that into reports.
Right. Structured reports that connect directly to the KPIs, the key
Okay.
performance indicators that each specific sponsor actually cares about.
So concrete proof.
Concrete evidence of impact. Like Jerry Maguire said, the key to this business is personal relationships.
Huh. Show me the money.
Well, yeah, but also showing the value. And data helps build and measure those sponsor relationships today.
Okay, last one, number 5. Orchestrate omni-channel campaigns. That sounds complex. Omni-channel meaning across all channels.
Yeah, exactly. And the problem is, if your messaging is inconsistent across your app, email, social media, website, maybe even in the stadium, fans get confused or just tune out.
Fan fatigue, low conversion.
Right. So the goal is integrated narratives, stories that flow across all channels and maybe even evolve over time. A cohesive fan journey.
The report mentions festivals like Coachella where brands like H&M or Revolve don't just put up a sign.
No, they create whole experiences nearby, blending fashion drops with influencer stuff, all amplified across social Their apps, the event itself?
It's a 360-degree thing.
Totally. And in sports, think about the NFL during a big game. You might get an alert on the app, see something related in an email later, and even see coordinated real-time messages on the stadium screen.
All synchronized.
All synchronized, creating that seamless experience wherever the fan is. So how does 3HL Score help manage something that complex?
Yeah, how do you coordinate all that?
The report talks about a timeline-driven campaign builder. It lets marketers schedule and trigger different parts of the campaign across different channels.
With that smart personalization built in.
Exactly. So the right message goes to the right person on the right channel at the right time. It acts like a central command center.
Keeping everything working together.
Yeah. Think about Sony's old make-up-believe tagline. That unified message is powerful, but you need that omnichannel orchestration to deliver it consistently.
Okay, so those are the big strategic objectives. Now, the report gets into the actual tools marketers are using and how 3HL Score kind of fits into that ecosystem. It doesn't exist in a vacuum, right?
Not at all. Marketers are juggling a lot of different platforms. The key is making them work together.
So let's break down some categories. First up, CRM and CDP. That's customer relationship management and customer data platforms like Salesforce, Adobe, Segment. What's their main job?
Their core job is managing those fan profiles we talked about and consolidating data. A CDP is like that central digital filing cabinet for fan info.
Getting that single view?
Right. And 3HL Score connects into these. It centralizes the engagement data, what people are actually doing, which then feeds back into the CDP and CRM for smarter campaigns.
Okay. Then there's marketing automation, tools like Braze, Iterable, ActiveCampaign, mostly for email, push notifications, automating journeys.
Yeah, those are the workhorses for sending out messages. 3HL Score adds another layer by providing triggers based on real-time events or fan loyalty tiers.
So you can make those automated messages even more personal and timely.
Exactly, adding behavioral and loyalty context.
What about specific fan loyalty and gamification platforms? Socios, EngagerM, FanMaker points, badges, rewards, contests.
Right, those focus purely on the loyalty and gamification side. Interestingly, the report says 3HL Score actually has its own native loyalty engine built in with gamified challenges.
So it can do that itself or work with others.
Seems like both. It offers those capabilities directly, but can likely integrate if a team already uses a dedicated platform.
Gotcha. Then, sponsor analytics tools, Nielsen Sports, Zoomf, Relo Metrics, tracking impressions, media value, social lift for sponsors.
Yeah, measuring the exposure side of sponsorship. 3HL Score complements this by connecting actual fan actions and campaign interactions to those sponsor reports.
So it adds the engagement piece to the exposure piece.
Precisely. A more complete picture of sponsor impact.
And we can't forget OTT and direct-to-fan platforms, NBA app, NFL Plus, F1 TV, Vivo, Spotify for artists. They're all about streaming content directly, subscriptions, getting analytics straight from the source.
Delivering content directly over the internet. 3HL Score plugs into the web and app infrastructure of these platforms.
To track how people are watching or listening.
Yeah, tracking that content behavior.
Yeah.
Which gives you super valuable insights for personalization and future content planning.
What about tools specific to music marketing? Like Toned-In, Feature.fm, Linkfire, DistroKid. They handle campaigns, smart links, playlist targeting, release automation.
Those are great for the initial push discovery, promotion. 3HL Score seems to complement them by focusing more on the longer-term relationship.
Like building retention and loyalty after someone discovers the music.
Exactly. Deeper fan engagement beyond just the release campaign.
Okay, content and social tools. Canva, Slate, Greenfly. For making branded visuals, managing social media workflows, how does 3HL Score connect there?
It helps tie the overall campaign goals to the specific creative assets being used.
So making sure the visuals and posts actually align with the strategic objectives and can be tracked for effectiveness.
Right, connecting the dots between strategy and execution.
And finally, the report mentions Web3 and tokenization. Platforms like Flow, Polygon, Sorare, Chiliz, dealing with NFTs, digital collectibles, token access.
Yeah, this is the really cutting-edge stuff. 3HL Score apparently has optional modules for this.
Like for setting up digital wallets or integrating token utility.
Exactly. So it's built to be future-ready, allowing organizations to dip their toes into Web3 when the time is right for them.
So it really sounds like a 3HL Score isn't trying to be everything, but more like the connective tissue.
That's a good way to put it. A central hub connecting fan engagement and data across the whole marketing tech stack, enhancing the tools people already use.
Okay, the report also looks ahead at some emerging trends, things that are really going to shape the future here. It seems pretty important to keep an eye on these, right?
Absolutely. This landscape changes so fast. Understanding what's coming next is key to identifying new opportunities, maybe spotting challenges early.
One trend they highlight is these short-form sports leagues, like the Kings League, Big Three, World Sevens football. What's the deal there?
It seems to be about adapting sports for younger audiences.
Hmm.
Faster pace, maybe different rules, catering to shorter attention spans.
And how they make money is different too.
Yeah, often leaning heavily on influencer collaborations and like digital micro sponsorships that fit that faster format.
Interesting. Another big one, generative AI in content marketing. We're seeing this pop up everywhere.
For sure. Examples like WSC Sports automatically cutting highlights from games.
Saves tons of time, I bet.
Huge amounts. And even Spotify or TikTok using AI to recommend music based on like the emotional sentiment it detects in user behavior.
Oh, wow. That's taking personalization to a whole new level.
It really shows the power of AI for automation and delivering relevance at scale. Much more efficient.
I mentioned it briefly before, but the report really digs into women's sports as major commercial engines now.
Yeah, it's a crucial shift. The growing viewership, the big brand deals, it's undeniable.
That stat again, 3 in 10 Americans following closely.
It just highlights this massive engaged audience and the commercial potential that, frankly, was overlooked for too long. Huge opportunity there.
Then there's hybrid event monetization. Artists like Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Blackpink, they're masters at this.
Absolutely. Blending the live show with live streams, exclusive merch drops, NFT campaigns.
And sometimes adding AR or VR elements at the actual events, too.
Right. It blurs the lines between physical and digital, creating totally new revenue streams and ways for fans to connect.
And the last trend mentioned is community and token-based engagement, using tokens for voting, unlocking content.
Yeah, platforms like Socios are known for this fan token model. And there's growing interest in using blockchain more broadly, maybe with wallet IDs, utility NFTs.
What's the driver behind that?
I think it reflects a desire from fans for more involvement, maybe a sense of ownership or belonging. And blockchain offers ways to create more direct, maybe more rewarding relationships with those super loyal fans.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this all up. Thinking about everything we've discussed from the report, what are the main takeaways? And what's this 3HL score difference they keep mentioning?
Well, the big picture is pretty clear. The future belongs to organizations that are agile. They can personalize basically every interaction, and they can monetize attention effectively across all their channels.
So it's not just about chasing the next shiny object.
No, it's about building durable, responsive ecosystems, systems that can adapt.
And the 3HL score difference, what makes it stand out, according to the report?
They highlight a few things. It's modular and composable, meaning you can kind of build it block by block, integrate it with tools you already have.
Flexible.
Right. It's built with Web3 in mind with those optional modules. It has open integration, so it plays nice with other systems like analytics, CRM, content tools.
It was focused on real-world applications.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Use case driven. Things like building loyalty programs from scratch, proving sponsor ROI, adding gamification, measuring how well campaigns actually work.
So it sounds like its main job is providing that crucial link between the fans, the brands, and all the experiences they share.
That seems to be the core idea, being the connective tissue, like you said, whether you're starting a small loyalty program, reporting back to a huge sponsor, or trying out something new like tokenized tickets.
It provides the foundation.
Yeah, the TED Foundation needed to navigate this changing landscape.
The report wraps up by saying the next era really hinges on personalizing every interaction and monetizing attention effectively. And that needs systems that can integrate data and scale globally. That feels like a pretty big statement.
It is. It really underscores that need for a comprehensive, integrated, and future-proof approach to engaging with fans in the coming years.
Well, this has been really insightful. A true deep dive into where sports and entertainment marketing is heading. It's clear things are moving fast.
Absolutely. This convergence of digital data and experiences.
Yeah.
It creates challenges, sure, but also some really significant opportunities for those ready to adapt.
Definitely food for thought. And on that note, we'll leave you, the listener, with this final thought. How might these trends and technologies change the way you engage with your favorite teams, artists, or entertainment? What new possibilities does that open up for you? Thanks for tuning in to The Deep Dive.